right, I'm here with Chris.
I'm here with Travis.
And this is Two Guys, One Pod.
That's right. We're the podcast where we talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about.
And today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil 4. Now, I think this is the peak of Resident Evil.
And I have to say I agree with you. This is the peak where the games, like, after this got really shitty.
And they got way too into the survival, or not the survival part, but the action part, not so much into the survival. They steered away from the scary aspect, the horror aspect of the games.
Yeah, I mean, but when you think about it, I mean, like, 6 was scary.
6 was scary bad.
Scary that Capcom was going to fail.
Yeah, 6 was pretty bad. I'm sure it probably better co-op.
Oh yeah.
I played it by myself, so I lost interest.
I played co-op on Resident Evil 5 with my cousin Seth, and it was fucking awful.
It was bad.
It was bad.
Some games can do the co-op thing and it'd be a much better game. But I wasn't big on 6. I played it by myself, solo, didn't like it.
But that's not what we're talking about. Today we're talking about Resident Evil 4.
That's right.
The game that I have to tell you, it changed my gaming life, I believe.
It did me too. It brought in both aspects of the horror, survival. They brought in, they went to a whole country. That was the pivot game. That was the change that probably led them down the wrong road.
Yeah, but like when you think about it, like people complain, like I've seen complaints like on the internet and stuff about the game not being good because it wasn't zombies this time. It was the whatever
the Lost Plagueis.
Yeah,
was the parasite. Yeah. And to be honest with you, it was almost like it was tired. Zombies. They did 3 games with zombies, so at some point it would just like everything they have to do it. They have to change up a little bit.
Well, I mean, that's true, but like, I mean, I see their point because I mean, it is what brought them the zombies or what brought them to life. But I don't know. It's like the zombies were like what brought them there. But the parasite thing was a good spin because you go into it like you don't even know what's wrong with the first guy because the first guy you fight,
he's speaking to you. And no zombies.
Yeah, that's true. Prior
to this, they couldn't speak.
Yeah,
they just groaned. Yeah. So if you think about it, it's almost like just like everything else. It evolution. It evolved into a different thing.
A different thing.
A better thing.
It makes more sense too. Like I guess my argument to them is that they were zombies, but they were biologically altered zombies because the thing with Umbrella was they were dealing with biological stuff. It wasn't the undead coming back to life. It was, well, I guess it was the undead coming back to life, but it was
exactly what it was.
It was biologically engineered, and so like this parasite that they got, it's another biologically engineered.
And it wasn't Umbrella. Didn't develop this. It was developed over in whatever country, or it was in Spain. I don't know exactly where, but
right.
It was developed over there. Umbrella tried to steal it. That's why they brought in Ada Wong. But anyways, let's talk about the story.
All right. First off, we start off with one of my favorite characters.
He is the best. He's my favorite as well. Leon Kennedy.
And here's a cringy story about Leon Kennedy, and me at least. Leon Kennedy was like kind of like the guy I like inspired to be as a cringy fucking teenager because this is a guy that's suave, fucking good with the ladies and shit, and this is
and not only that, he was a badass.
He was a
special agent. How did he get to? So let's talk about Leon for a second. How did he get to this point? Because way back when in Resident Evil 2. He was a rookie. It was the first day on his job, and Raccoon City had the outbreak. So how did he get to the special agent? I don't even know. You don't either.
Another thing I've got to comment on there is that Leon and Claire and Chris, all these badass fucking people come out of Raccoon City Police Department. Yeah. What kind of fucking city were they in?
Well, they were on the Stars team. Well, actually, technically, Leon was just he was an underling, I guess. Yeah. He was just a regular old traffic cop. But,
so yeah, like, Leon, I don't know, like, he was a badass in, like, Resident Evil 2. So, like, maybe that's why they picked him up, like, because here you got this guy that's a rookie on his first day on the job, comes in and just beats ass on these zombies and, you know.
Basically survived all by himself, him and Claire.
Him and Claire, which you only meet up sometimes, but it's really weird, like, because you figure they would take, like, every horror story, you know, in the world, like, don't split the fuck up. Like, why would you do that? Like,
well, again, both of them, I mean, Claire being Chris's sister, I mean, I guess she's got that badass gene.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Leon, just his badass gene awoke in that game. But anyways, back to Resident Evil 4.
Back to number 4. Okay, so you start off and these cops are taking you to this place, right?
Yeah, to the village.
To the village?
Yeah.
Which they have a car accident or something like that happens.
Yeah, you branch off, you go on foot, and a truck out of nowhere comes barreling down the road, these narrow backwoods roads, and basically runs them off a cliff.
Yeah, that's right.
And the whole setup is Leon is sent over to this country in Spain, I reckon. They don't actually say. They sent Leon over to Spain to retrieve the president's daughter, Ashley Graham.
Right. Which is, spoiler alert, people, hot as fuck.
Yeah, back in the day, I have to say she was very hot to me. Yeah, even still today,
still today very hot. Even though it's kind of like teetering on pedophile, but not really. I don't think so. Because she's aged, you know.
She hit on Leon at the end, and Leon's was at least middle age. She's 30s, in his 30s.
Late 20s. But
late 20s, mid.
I'm pretty sure in this, like, she's pretty young, but I don't know that much about her backstory. I just know about her backside. You know?
Yeah, yes. Now, you're sent to retrieve Ashley Graham, which is the president's daughter at the time, and Leon comes in and basically walks into the village and.
All right, and as you know, as we're getting into the village, and you go through this part, this is where he's got a name and it doesn't make sense. It's like Doctor something.
What was his name? Salvador. Dr. Salvador.
Dr. Salvador.
You get attacked by everybody in this village.
Yeah.
And Dr. Salvador, yeah, that's his name.
Which makes no fucking sense why this guy's a doctor and a chainsaw-wielding sack-headed murderer.
He's got a burlap sack on his head and wields a chainsaw. And if he comes in contact with you, he cuts your head off. I mean, it's a one-hit kill.
Definitely fucked up.
If you don't kill him before he gets close enough to you, he cuts your head off.
And being young, playing this game for the very first time, this is the part where I
clenches your butt.
It does. And it makes you like have to pee so bad, and you're like trying to run around fight this guy, and you're about to piss all over yourself, man.
Yeah, and that's and I feel like they got away from this after Resident Evil 4, but Resident Evil 4 really brings in that horror aspect just for little things like that. Yeah. Dr. Salvador, he's not even a main character. He's just this guy in the village that attacks you.
Yeah. The thing is with like him, like Dr. Salvador, so you're sitting there and you're not even expecting this. So like by this point, you fought the zombies. You know who the zombies are. You know, you're doing everything that you can. But he comes out of nowhere, right, with this crowd of zombies that you also have to fight.
Yes.
And
well, luckily, spoiler alert, if you're lucky enough to find the chainsaw in the second floor of a house in the village, you get the shotgun, which is very helpful here. If you miss that, and if you're running around like I did when I first played, not just trying to avoid these zombies who run at you with pickaxes and torches and everything else.
Luckily, on my first playthrough, I actually killed him on my first playthrough, but it was a tight butthole experience.
Yeah, of course it is.
And like it was so scary. But it was good. It was something that made you scared, and it really brought life to the game. It really did. Like you're first playing it, you're like, okay, this is different from Resident Evil. It's feeling kind of like a arcade shooter at this point because you're blasting these zombies.
But at the same time, it's like you can't just run around blasting because ammo is scarce.
Right.
Ammo is scarce.
And you first learned this, I guess, or at least I did when I first got into the village. And, now I'm sitting here with like an empty fucking pistol, maybe like a round left in the shotgun. And a couple grenades that some of the dead people drop, like
that's something else new. That's something else new that Resident Evil 4 brought. Now, I heard a lot of backlash from this, but on downed enemies, they'll leave herbs or ammo or incendiary grenades, whatever.
Right. Yeah,
that's something else new that they brought in. But I thought it was a good thing for the game. I don't know going forward it ended up being good, but for the game in particular, Resident Evil 4, it was a good thing.
Being young, I mean, it really was. I see their argument, I guess, because like the hardcore lovers of the fan that have been there since 1, which I had not. Whenever I first picked this game up, I had only played 2 and 3, and that's because and I have not beat 3 yet, but I've only beaten 2.
See, Resident Evil 4 was the first one that I beat, but I had played a good portion of 1, 2, and 3. Way back in the day, me and my cousin set up all night playing 3.
Right.
We rented it, and it was back in the days where you rent games. I don't even know if people still do that anymore. But
I don't know. I think it's like a GameFly thing.
We were kids, man. We were young, and I played Resident Evil 1 really young. And I remember it scaring the piss out of me. They did. They all scared me. And I was a little bit older when Resident Evil 4 come out, and it was the first one I beat. And I was actually more mature into my gaming than I was back then.
Well, I mean, like, I was still like a teenager. I wasn't, because I got my PS2 really late. And I remember the day I got Resident Evil 4. I didn't even plan on getting Resident Evil 4. I go into GameStop in the mall, and my mom's there, and I had saved up like a bunch of my allowance to get like some video games for my PS2, and ended up buying like 3 games that day. And Resident Evil 4 just happened to be one of them, and the best one out of these 3 games that I purchased.
Diamond in the rough.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't even expecting it, and I seen it, and I was like, I liked. Because I still have my PS1, I still have my games for it. I'm like, I love 2, I like 3, but I kind of got out of the gaming world for a little bit in my angsty teenage years and was like, really shitty playing guitar and stuff. And but
my cousin actually was the one. He let me borrow it, and I just loved it. Of course, I knew what Resident Evil was, having played 1, 2, and 3, not beating them, but having played them. I just remember those tank controls and it being awful.
It was awful.
But I loved it in a sense.
It was so great, and like,
because even then it was still nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
Because I played Resident Evil 1 so young. I was, really young playing it.
Let me finish the story. Then we'll go back into explaining the game. So I go in GameStop with my mom, and I pick out the 2 games that I wanted, which were like, they were stupid. One was Conflict Vietnam. I mean, it wasn't stupid. It was a decent game for like a shooter, but I mean, it really, looking back on it, was pretty shitty.
Most games were.
Yeah. And then I got like one of the Call of Duties for PlayStation 2, which I beat in like 5-6 hours, of gameplay. It wasn't even, because it was just a straight shooter, But, young kid back then, shooters were cool with everybody else. And so we go in there. I get these 2 games. I still got all this money left. In hindsight, well, not in hindsight, because I ended up buying like a really good game, Resident Evil 4. But I probably should have just saved it. But I get this game, and
That's what we always say.
Yeah,
probably should have just saved
it. I get this game. My older cousin is staying with me, and then because for some reason her mom had to work that night, and then her little brother is staying. My mom's taking them to a birthday party, one of my other cousin's birthday parties or some shit like that. So we get home, it's really late. We watch like a couple movies, then we go to bed. The next day we get up, it's about midday because we stayed up pretty late. My mom takes my little cousin to this birthday party, and it's just me and her there because we didn't want to go, it's a little kid's birthday party, and we were not teenagers, but like 11, 12 years old, who wants to go to that kind of thing. So we fixed some like pizza rolls and like some ramen noodles because we were pigs, and we fucking ate a lot. And then like we sit down, we hook up the PlayStation 2 to the big TV in the living room, and we pop it on Resident Evil 4.
It's always good to play with somebody else.
Yeah, it is.
I tried to explain to my wife about these scary games, and she thinks like I had her try to play Outlast, and I kept telling her how I was just tight butthole the whole time, just the whole time, and all these jump scares, and you have nothing in Outlast. And she just, was like, oh, it's a game. How can it be scary?
Right.
And then I had her sit down and play it, and she about shit her pants.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's always good to have somebody with you.
Which she would never play the games with me. My cousin wouldn't. She would always just sit there and watch. And I think she just liked getting scared, because there's something about not being in control of that controller there, man, that just makes it that much more intense.
It's like for her, it's like watching a scary movie.
Yeah, it's like watching a scary movie.
For you, it's like controlling a scary movie,
exactly.
Which is so much worse.
You don't know what to do.
Yeah, you never know what to do. You're controlling this person, and when you're playing a game, especially like Resident Evil, in any, role-based playing games, you got to keep this person alive. So basically, it's you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we all know it's Leon Kennedy on the screen, but it's you when you got that controller in your hand.
But so like we're sitting there, and she, we turn on. We're going through the game. It's like perfect setting too for like the game because we're playing it. We played it all through the afternoon. We get to the part like. It's getting dark outside because, like I said, it started midday. We ate before we started playing. And it's like wintertime. So, like, it's about 3 or 4 o'clock. Well, the sun's going down, right? So it's counting down to dark. Yeah. We're sitting in there playing this game. We're all alone by ourselves in this house. And, like, we're old enough that, like, if anything was to happen, like, my parents were obviously not just irresponsible parents, but, like, it's still kind of eerie as a kid, especially like, you got the house seems bigger to you because you're a kid. Yeah. And like, the rooms are dark because we were.
And I think that happens to every kid because I know exactly. I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, man. Like.
Yeah.
And so like we're sitting there playing this game and we're getting so fucking scared because this is the first time experiencing it, But on my second playthrough, by my third playthrough, the finish of my second playthrough, I wasn't very scared of it at all because I knew what was going to happen. But we're sitting there playing this game. We're getting so scared. And And then all of a sudden, my mom just opens the door, and like I throw the controller and scream. It was so funny.
When we get later on down the story.
All right. Yeah, sorry I went off tangent there, but
that's okay. I'm going to do the same thing because I got a story very similar to that. Once we get down the storyline of Resident Evil 4.
Right.
All right. Now back to the story.
Okay.
That's basically the opening because then Leon turns around like after you defeat so many of the Las Plagas villagers. Basically, what happens is a big bell rings, and this is actually when you play through it. I didn't play the side missions, the Ada Wong. That's actually Ada ringing the church bell.
Really?
Yeah.
I never played the side missions.
You never played it? Okay.
No.
Well, see when you go through and play the side missions. Which we're getting a little off topic for the main story, but this actually, they're parallel. Ada Wong, see, Leon doesn't even know Ada Wong's there. You don't see her till about mid-game.
Right.
And that's when you realize that she's there. But a lot of stuff doesn't happen just by coincidence. Ada's there, and she's kind of steered things in a certain way. But anyways, so Ada Wong actually was the one that rung that church bell that got the villagers to leave, and Leon, that's basically the opening. Leon's like, where'd everybody go? It's kind of cheesy, but at the same time, it's, Leon's that smooth cat.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, man.
He's that cool dude.
Smooth cat.
And did you know later on, after, which we get down to the story, you progress through the story, you basically go past the village into the farms and stuff like that, and you run into Luis Serra.
All right, hold on. Before we go there, can we talk about the farm that you come across right before you run into Luis Serra? I think it's right after you get out of the village.
The blue medallions first.
Yeah,
that's right after the village. Yeah.
Okay. So, can we talk about that for a minute? Okay, so who else, shot the fucking animals going I wonder if they're zombies,
I didn't. I didn't at all because if you don't shoot the chickens, they'll lay eggs. They'll run around and lay eggs, and eggs is a source of health. And for the game,
weapons in this game because you could throw.
Yeah, you can actually throw the chicken egg. Yeah. But I never actually shot the animals because ammo is so scarce. Especially after that's right after you see El Salvador and you have to pump him full of lead for him to go down.
Die.
Yeah.
I did. It was stupid, but it's just one of those things that you do in a video game. You're just I wonder what this does. This might do something I don't even know.
And Resident Evil that's a trait to their games. Puzzles and stuff like that. I mean, you never know what would happen.
You never know what you got to do.
And that's another thing that that Resident Evil 4 doesn't lack in. They brought more of the adventure and the survival out. They kept the horror, and they also kept the puzzles.
One thing that happens a little bit after this, a little bit after you go into the farm, is that you run into a quick time event where they push a boulder off the ledge.
That is true.
I gotta say, it makes you such a tight butthole, but
and you never know when these quick time events are going to come. They come throughout the game. The fight with I'm not even going to jump into it yet because we're not there.
Right.
But the boulders, the
everything. I mean,
ropes being tied to your leg. Actually, it happens in every one of the. I don't want to call it a main fight, but it's kind of your first main fight with El Gigante.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. The giant freaking Plagas monster.
I'm not pretending like I know Spanish. So
maybe El Gigante.
I'm assuming that it's Spanish. It could be another language. I don't even fucking know.
We're in Spain, so and it starts with L, so it definitely means the giant. So I'm not at all formal when it comes to speaking Spanish, but I do know that it means the giant.
But so
Once the first main character that you meet would be Luis Serra.
Right.
Yeah, you run into him, and then at the same time, right after, there's a little cutscene where he's locked into a wardrobe closet type deal, and I'm pretty sure there's a quick time event there too.
There is a quick time event.
It's after.
It's
you meet
after.
Sadler.
Yeah.
Sadler shows up, and then you guys end up waking up tied to each other, which also, just like scary movies and everything else, like the bad guy has you dead to rights. Why not kill you now?
Why not kill you now? And the problem. But this is where
he wanted to. No, this is where he infects you with the plaga.
That's what I'm
saying.
He
wanted you to take it back and be infected and take it over to the States, I believe. He had a overall scheme.
Yeah,
big plot he was working on.
He had his own thing he was doing there. So this is where also after that scene, so after you go past this, you and Luis go your separate ways.
This is where you first run into.
You run into this creepy fucking guy that is selling shit under his coat.
Yeah, he's just like this black market tradesman. I've read some interesting theories. Actually, I think I've seen some YouTube videos that what's his name? Basically the scavenger.
I don't even know what his name is.
But he's basically your merchant. He's the merchant.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what he's called. I watched a YouTube video one time where there were some wild theories that he was like Luis Serra's grandpa.
Oh.
Yeah. Luis Serra. Back to the story of the game. Luis Serra was the guy who basically developed. He used to be a cop, and he's this big brainiac that he had a major involvement in the development of the Las Plagas.
I'm not sure. I must have missed this part of the story. I don't remember that.
Yeah. He's involved with the development. He used to be a policeman. Didn't really cut out for him, and I think he, was this big brainiac, so he fell back on being a scientist.
Yeah,
I guess.
So,
you run into Luis Serra, and then immediately after that, Sadler, who is the main antagonist. Sadler basically ties you and Luis Serra up, and a quick time event happens, and if you miss these, you basically die.
Like any quick time event in this whole game, which I think is unnecessary. I'm not.
But at the same time, it keeps you on there. I'm not either, but it keeps you on your toes.
But this is the first game I've ever played with a quick time event, though. Interesting little tidbit about me, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot of games do it, but it doesn't really play, I don't think. Most games don't. It doesn't play well. But this one, once you get that first couple out of the way, you're on your toes.
Yeah.
And this game keeps you on your toes.
It definitely does, especially your first playthrough of it. Obviously, I guess with any game, once you get through like a playthrough or two of it, it's pretty simple because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I even think with the difficulty, they don't even change any of the characters, do they? Like, or the enemies you fight with the difficulty, they just give you less ammo, less health, and
I think so. Yeah, it basically just starts you off like that. Now, this is something that's interesting. It doesn't give you a difficulty to start out with.
Right, which the first ones didn't they?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember playing Resident Evil 2 and it giving you a difficulty at the very first of the menu.
Along with choosing a character, this is also a first for this one. You don't choose a character in this game. You're Leon, and that's it.
The Resident Evil 2, I believe you had 2 discs. One disc was for Claire, one disc was for Leon, but in the other parts, the other game, I think Resident Evil 2 came out for the GameCube, maybe? I know it was for the N64, but
Wait.
I
gotta backtrack because I just said that, but wasn't Nemesis just Jill or no? You Enrique or somebody like that?
No. You can only play as Jill.
You can only play as Jill. Okay, so yeah, maybe it wasn't the first one, but
yeah, maybe not.
that was a big thing in the first two.
Yeah, the first two.
Yeah, you play as one character or the other. You can basically do the whole story as one or other.
Which I know this is kind of going off topic, but I know you're pretty pumped about it. I'm pretty pumped about it. Resident Evil 2 remastered.
Is it coming?
I think so. I think I seen something about it the other day coming out.
I am super pumped about it.
I'm definitely pumped. Capcom's release that they're definitely working on it. They made that one guy shut down his whole thing.
The guy, the college student, I think he was. Yeah.
He was doing his whole thing there.
And it looked pretty good.
It looked good, especially for somebody that...
Something that he done as well was he gave the different camera options. And that was cool. I hope Capcom picks that up because a lot of people with Resident Evil 7 really just did not like, absolutely hated the first-person view.
Yeah, the first-person view of it.
I personally thought it was good.
I thought it was good.
It put you in the game.
It does put you in the game. What my thing with 7 was, once again, this is totally off topic, but...
No, it's not off topic. We're still talking about
which, that's something this game did introduce, a new camera angle.
It did. It was the third person. It was the
third person, over the shoulder.
Over the shoulder, third person.
It gave you a new way to aim your guns, because back in the one Resident Evil's, like 1 through 3, you just pointed kind of in that direction and shot.
Yeah, it wasn't accurate at all.
Really
so this
wasn't.
way, without going in those really crappy first person, because this isn't Resident Evil 7 wasn't the first person Resident Evil game.
Not.
They had spin-off games.
They had a spin-off game which was an arcade shooter, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was literally, I think, just a crosshair on the screen.
And you moved the crosshair. Yeah. It was bad.
It was bad. It was bad.
But I hope that Capcom does let you choose your camera angle because that way everybody can be happy.
Yeah, that way you don't have.
And for guys like us, I think we'll probably. I know I will. I'm speaking for myself here. Hopefully, or maybe you too. But I would probably try them all out.
I definitely would.
Because
would.
I didn't. I was skeptical about the first person with 7.
Yeah.
I was, and then we sat down and actually played it together. That was the only Resident Evil game that we sat down and played together.
We actually played together.
And we played through it and beat it, and it was a good time. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
A lot of backlash on 7.
But I mean, the main thing is I guess for these Resident Evil games is it reminds me of fond memories.
It definitely it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Nostalgia. Because back then, when you played these games, you were scared.
Now
you're an adult and you're not scared of nothing until you pop in Resident Evil 7. We popped in that game, and I can't tell you how many times we screamed like little girls.
Little girls.
Yeah.
Which your little girl was there with us and wasn't even screaming.
She loves scary stuff. Now, in hindsight, it said a lot of curse words, and she's a very mature girl.
Yeah.
But she doesn't scare easy at all. And we screamed like
little girls. And speaking of the curse word things, especially me, whenever I get scared, I start cussing.
I don't even think I can get words out. I just and it's awful. But yeah, back to 4.
Yeah. So back to 4. Where was we at? We
were just Sadler. He basically had us dead to rights. We run and you get out of that.
Yeah, you get out of that. You meet the merchant.
And the merchant's something new. You can actually get with this guy and buy new stuff.
Buy ammo.
You cannot buy ammo.
You can't.
You cannot buy ammo.
I thought you could.
You could not buy ammo. So that's the scarce. That's where I said the ammo is scarce.
Yeah.
You can buy new guns. You can upgrade your backpack. I think they called it like a briefcase or something.
Like a briefcase, which you're not packing at all.
No, I guess it's like a backpack type thing, but it wasn't a backpack. See, that's Resident Evil 7. It was definitely a backpack in that. But it was basically a briefcase, and you could upgrade it, which helps your management. But it's still, even at the biggest one, you can only carry so much because the ammo is like, it took up more than one slot. Once you get to like 50, then you had to take another slot and fill it up 50. You know what I'm saying?
You had to do all these
item management is still a pain.
I
in this
really
game.
like this because honestly,
But it was definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, it definitely was an upgrade because you could move your items around, you could turn them around. They
give you a lot more
slots. Yeah,
they give you a lot more management options. Like you didn't just have a box to put it in, which again I think this was an upgrade. A lot of people, I've read a lot of comments where I think that Resident Evil 4 was the peak. It was the top of the mountaintop for Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, nah, it was, I guess, more of the plateau. It did nothing. It did nothing but go down with 4. See, I don't think so.
I don't agree. I think where Resident Evil really tipped off was 5. And
5 was
5 was
point.
Focusing on action.
Way too much action.
Way too much co-op.
Yeah.
I mean, I never had that complaint. Like
the controls for 5, see, even 4, like with that over the shoulder, like you still like you can run, but it was like a light jog. You couldn't even run.
You weren't even running.
But Resident Evil 5 was more that run around first person shooter. It kind of felt more like Call of Duty. Like you was running around blasting assault rifles.
Yeah.
And you get like the little Uzi. What is it? The MP5 or something like that?
No, it's something weird. Look,
you get a little Uzi or something in Resident Evil 4, but I never used it. I never actually got that gun.
I used it some. It wasn't really good because it dumped through your ammo.
It did.
Like crazy. And then
it was so weak. It was so weak. So I never used it. I basically, my strategy for that game was you start off with a pistol and a knife. And basically, I used the knife a lot whenever you downed an enemy, like shoot them in the knee and then run up on them and knife them, and that was a good strategy.
Which is something I did with my recent playthrough, and it's because you told me about that. You shoot them in the knee, run up with your knife, and down them.
Yeah. Did you ever get the remastered?
I did.
Because I got it for the Xbox.
You got it for the Xbox, and I was telling you I got a disc version for my PS3, and you were like, "Well, how did you do that?" And I bought the Japanese disc version for my PS3 because I already knew what all they were saying, and the voice acting is still in English.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just
they just had subtitles.
Yeah,
I can deal with that.
Yeah, the menu is like Japanese, but you already know what everything says. You don't really need,
Yeah.
And so,
the voice acting's still in American.
The voice acting is still in American.
Well, yeah, why not?
That's what I said. Why not?
But I went out because for the price, and I don't know what it costs now, but I got it whenever they come out. They did 4, 5, and 6, I believe, all at once, the remastered, and I only bought 4. Love the game. 5 and 6, even at $20, which is a steal for basically a new game.
It really is.
Skyrim, when they remastered theirs, it was a full-fledged $60 game. So,
which is
for $20 for a remastered, and I paid that for it. I paid it for Skyrim.
Yeah, which is another topic. I think companies are robbing people, but I mean,
Capcom is actually doing the consumer good there. I mean, yeah, it's a game you already played, but it's for a lot of the fans. I mean, it's a game you want to play. I mean, you wouldn't mind to pay $20 to.
Right.
I also only bought. I can't wait for 2 and 3, and they have to do it. I mean, you have to sit and think they done 1, 4, 5, and 6. Why would they not do 2 and 3?
2 and 3.
2 and 3 is still on that uprise.
3 doesn't have very much love for it at all. Which that was even though I beat 2. First,
3 was great because the nemesis just followed you the whole game. That was a good thing, I think.
And every time you would kill
him, you never knew when he was going to pop up.
Every time you would kill him, you'd be like, okay, he's dead. I'm going to go to this area. And then when you come back, you're like,
he just keeps coming.
Where the fuck did he go? Because he just disappeared. You know what I'm saying?
He just keeps coming. And I thought that was a good thing. I did. But anyways, so I went out and I bought Resident Evil 4. for $20. To me, that was a bargain. It come out brand new for $20, remastered. Hell yeah, I'm a buy it.
Right.
But back to the story. We get back from Sadler and Luis there. You get a little bit on him. You're kind of sketchy about this guy.
Right.
He's just kind of runs off from you, goes his own way.
Runs off, which once again, back to the split, separate
ways. Yeah, why not stay together? You're fighting off these, Plagas zombies who have advanced to using weapons and can actually communicate with each other.
Obviously, he knows the area, so why wouldn't he just take, hey, don't go out that door because that's a rock quarry filled with all these fucking or I assume it's a quarry of some kind, mining thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a mining shaft.
Yeah, filled with all these fucking zombies.
Yeah.
Don't go that way.
Yeah. But, whatever. So we get away from Luis there. We meet Sadler for the first time, who's the main antagonist. He's this sketchy looking dude with this cloaked out purple, real creepy looking guy. He's got this staff. He's just a creepy guy.
He's like a fucking wizard,
Yeah, he kind of looks like this. He kind of looks like what's the Sith from, not the Sith, but the old guy from Star Wars.
Yoda.
No, not Yoda. I know who Yoda is, but Darth Vader's main guy. What's his name?
Yeah, what the fuck is his name?
Star Wars. I'm not big in Star Wars.
Palpatine.
Yeah, Palpatine. That old guy.
The old guy that has the
cloak.
hood.
He's basically him in the Resident Evil world. He's this evil guy.
So you meet him, and if you interact with his paintings on the house, there's actually gold hidden.
Yes, certain ones. But anyways, that's actually not his house. That's Salazar's house.
Yeah, it's Salazar's house, which is this little fucking French Duke looking motherfucker.
That's a little fucking French Duke. That's exactly what he looks like, yes. So from there, we haven't got Ashley yet. Let's see. We go. From there, we go to the lake, I believe. You make your way to the lake. And I don't know if you know this, but if you walk out to that dock where the lake is and shoot the water 3, 4, 5 times in a row, the big fish monster, what's his name?
Like an
he's just giant fish monster. His name's let's look it up real quick. Del Lago.
Which is another fucking
Spanish
word.
It's probably
sounds like
big evil fish.
Yeah,
Del
Lago, like lager beer or something. Like it's a fucking big beer.
Well, anyways, if you didn't know this, if you walk out to that dock, shoot it 3 or 4 or 5 times really fast, Del Lago will jump out and eat you right there on the spot, and you die.
I did not know
that. Get it. That's an actual achievement for the remastered. I got it for my Xbox. I got that achievement. I had to die to get an achievement. That's basically it. You have to kill yourself. But it's an interesting little thing. Like
it is very interesting.
If you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. But this part right here, this is a very interesting part for me because like you really don't see it coming.
No, and that's something this game does good at. Nothing
but if you go, coming. I think if you go up on the rock,
if you go up, there's a little spot where you can look over the lake, and there's a little cutscene where it has 2 of the villagers feeding Del Lago, and basically, I think Del Lago eats them. You actually see him. You see the big Del Lago.
You do see Del Lago.
Yeah, but if you go up to the top of it's a hill. It's a hillside right above the lake.
Scouting it out.
Yeah, and he's looking, and these 2 villagers go out on the lake.
Out these binoculars that are not in your inventory.
You can't even. You can't. It's a cutscene use only. Binoculars, and you see these 2 villagers trying to feed Del Lago, and that's where you get your first glimpse of him. But if you didn't know nothing about that, you probably wouldn't even go up there.
I didn't even go up there my first time. And so I'm going across this lake, and I'm not even sure which direction to really even go in.
Yeah, it doesn't really tell you. You just basically drive across the lake.
And then it cuts to a cutscene where it shows Del Lago
underneath
you, and you're like, the fuck is that?
And then it gives you like this Jaws feeling. Like if you've ever seen the movie Jaws, it's this big giant
movie,
giant shark. Yeah, right. This big giant shark man-eating fish underneath you. He looks like a giant tuna, I guess.
He really does, or something. He's
big catfish. I'm not even sure, but
Old Del Lago. So then you got
the one good thing about this fight is no ammo required. You get these harpoons.
You get these harpoons that are endless.
You're like this. There's an unlimited supply of harpoons. You basically turn into this Japanese whaling man who just throws these harpoons at this giant fish. And right after you beat Del Lago, guess what, guys? Another quick time event. The rope gets attached to Leon's foot, and you're breathing a sigh of relief. You just defeated this giant monster.
Killed a fish.
And it's the first big thing that you fight. You fight Del Lago before you get to El Gigante.
Yeah, you do.
And it's this, you breathe a sigh of relief, but then it hits you with a quick time event.
Quick time event where you got a fucking
Mash X.
I
played it on PlayStation 2.
It's what I played it on too.
Mash and X and O or X. I think it's just X because you're cutting.
I think
Whip out your knife and you cut.
There might be an O in there somewhere. I don't know, but you're whipping out your knife. You're hacking. You're mashing. And once again, I'm still relatively new. I know you get a boulder, like maybe one or two boulder scenes before this, but I'm still relatively new.
A lot of people probably died at this point.
And so I think I died, which is bullshit.
Because like Del Lago right over again. And then basically after that fight, you reach the shore, and there's a little secret area if you go to. It's you get a little treasure, and you run into the merchant again. Off the lake, but
you get knocked out, don't you?
No, when you get off the lake, the plaga starts to develop inside you, and you basically pass.
Yeah.
Somebody I think drags you into a house though. I
want to say the villagers drag you into a house or some shit like that.
Again, I don't think it's the villagers. It could be Ada. I don't remember. I can't remember. But somehow or another, you wake up in a house. And if it was somebody bad, why not kill him?
Why not kill you?
But there's an evil plot to get you to go back to America and
with this plague inside you.
Yeah, And well, anyway, so you wake up, and apparently hours passed, and a little bit of Metal Gear Solid here. Hunnigan radios you. That's something else new. Well, no, they used the radio before, didn't they? They used the radio, or was Resident Evil 4 I don't remember the radio either. I remember the broken radio in Resident Evil 1, where you get I always played as Jill. More item slots.
More item slots.
So much easier.
So much.
I guess that's the easier route to take. I played as Chris a few times, and
see, I beat Resident Evil 2 as Leon, and then I also beat it as Claire. Claire was my first playthrough, which I had to glitch out the game to actually beat this guy, but to beat the final boss. But I'll explain that, some other time. But so you wake up, right? Because you just got fucked up. On some plagas.
Las plagas. They got you high.
Yeah, and so you wake up in this fucking thing, and it's dark. All right?
Yeah, it's dark now.
It's dark now.
Now, let's discuss something real quick, because it's something that's always bothered me. How's the time frame of this game?
This time frame is fucked up, because it's dark, and it stays dark.
Yeah, it stays dark. It seems late in the afternoon whenever you start. And then I think, but when you pass out, it's like 6 hours because Hunnigan radios you, and she's like, "Where have you been?" It's been like 6 hours.
Yeah, this is the perfect game though for a fall time play.
It is. It's really fall,
especially if you start in the afternoon. By the time it gets dark on game, it's dark outside.
That's right. Yeah, it'll real feel. Real feel. Well, basically from there, you head down this like waterfall cave type deal. You gotta basically get back to the underground path. You're looking for a piece to get into the church, I believe. You have to find some pieces, which is a Resident Evil thing. You have to find these emblems,
You got to
piece them together.
A lot of backtracking.
That's something Resident Evil 4 didn't stray from.
Yeah.
The puzzles, the backtracking, the scarce ammo, the scarcity of everything. They didn't go away from that in this game. So you're basically going in a direction to get back to where you've already been.
Right.
You got to get into the church because that's where they're keeping Ashley.
Right.
Yeah, you go through this thing and there's some little puzzles here and there, and you get back to this underground path and you eventually lead back to the church, and this is where you meet Ashley.
Right. We skipped a little bit there, but it's nothing really important. I mean, there's a whole nother boat thing that you can do. You can fish. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that.
Okay, so like if you sit at the end of the dock,
I know you could shoot.
Boat, you can take the harpoon and you can actually hit fish with the harpoon.
Okay, yeah.
And you can pick those up. And
that's health, yeah. Now some of those fish are pretty big and they take up a bunch of item slots.
They do take up a bunch of item slots, but they also heal you more.
Yeah, they do. That's also very good for like if you're going through the game. I seen a guy do a knife only challenge, and I wished I would. That game would be really difficult just to run through with a knife,
especially whenever you get to like boss battles.
Yes, I've seen it. Well, he actually changed it because he got to thinking about it while he was playing. He was like, whenever you fight Mendez, that's one of the big. You have to have something, and he did it with just grenades and a knife.
That's
in that
cool.
barn. Yes, it was. I watched
like
him.
Sticks and stones kind of
It
thing.
really was because there's no way to beat this game just knife only. At least I don't think so. I'd like to see somebody do it.
I like to see. I'm sure that there's some guy out there that's
You tell me how to fight Mendez with just a knife. He
I don't know, man.
breaks off into that crab person.
Yeah, crab people.
Little South Park.
South Park thrown in.
No, I'm not even sure what he is, but he breaks into half and then he swings from the fucking rafters of the barn and hitting him with just a knife while he's airborne, like he's not like.
How do you fight final boss with just a knife though?
I'm pretty sure he ended up stopping after that. I don't think because you can't do it. You can't.
Salazar, and can you even get the Salazar?
You can't get the Salazar with a knife. I don't think he'll definitely kill you before you kill him. But anyways, so you get to the church, and this is where you run into Ashley, and I believe Sadler again.
Oh, I said Salazar. I meant Sadler.
Yeah, but you couldn't fight Salazar either. He's bigger than Sadler.
Yeah.
He stuck on a wall, too, with that.
Yeah.
But anyways, you get Ashley. I think we should probably just speed through this and just talk about
the
experiences we've had.
This beautiful American blonde goddess.
Yeah, her experience, yeah. She, in the skin, like, it's fall time, too,
It's fall time, and this girl's got a skirt on, which is great for us. Which, if you get her up on a ledge and you look up her skirt, there's something that happens,
She's like, hey, quit that.
Yeah, it's something really...
Yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but it's like if you try to look up her skirt...
Kind of playfully, like she wants it or something. I don't know. But, like, here you go. So you got some more puzzles. You got a church. All this fucking shit.
And at this point, once you get to Ashley, she follows you around, and you not only have to keep yourself alive, but you have to keep her alive.
Keep someone else alive too.
And she is completely incompetent.
She's horrible. She can't.
You can't even give her a gun.
Yeah, because she's fucking.
And her health is like so much smaller than yours, but you can actually
can level her health.
You can level her health up if you want to waste those yellow herbs on her.
Yeah,
I never did.
Because fuck her. Because that's stupid.
And you have to go through like a bunch of fights with her. I think you have to do a El Gigante fight with her.
I think have we already passed up the first El Gigante fight?
I think so, because I think that may have been before the lake. Yeah. I don't remember.
See, I get hazy right here at this part.
There's a lot of backtracking here.
Yeah.
But basically, you fight a big giant.
It was El Gigante.
El Gigante.
You can rescue a dog earlier
in
the game.
Yeah, at the you run across at the very, very start of the game. You hear this dog whining, and if you run up to it, you can either help it or just ignore it.
Right.
And if you help it, he's trapped in a bear trap. He's got his little hind leg trapped in a bear trap, and I help the dog, and it's a good thing if you do because he's a great big help when you fight El Gigante.
Yeah. For the first time.
Yeah, you don't get him after that. That's basically it.
Yeah, that's it. He's like one giant fight's enough.
Yeah, he's just a little puppy dog. You know, what's he gonna do?
He gonna do against
But he does. He gets him distracted. If you help the dog, which I advise doing, it's your first playthrough. He helps you a great big amount whenever you fight El Gigante. And there's a quick time event with that too, because once you knock him down, you have to like cut his back.
Yeah, you gotta jump
because those plagas.
Yeah. Tentacle monster. Yeah.
But
just heard Seth, our tech guy over here, talking.
Yeah. He's fixing all our mess ups, giving us our names.
We're pretty fucking dumb.
We're not good with the terminology either.
Definitely not.
I didn't even know Del Lago had a name. He was just a giant fish.
Giant
fish. They didn't
fish.
say his name
throughout
the game.
Knows that, you know?
Or Dr. What's the name? Salvador, yeah.
Some shit like that. Like, once again, why the fuck is the chainsaw wielding motherfucker a doctor?
Speaking of the chainsaw, did you ever see the special edition?
Yes, I had a chance to buy one for $80. It was the special edition.
It's basically you get the chainsaw controller, and it's so cool. It's basically whatever console you get it on.
Yeah,
I think it came out for GameCube as well.
Yeah, probably.
But GameCube and PS2, you get this special controller, which is an actual, a fake chainsaw. It's a chainsaw controller.
It comes with this little stand, and I think the game's inside the chainsaw or something.
I'm not even sure.
I don't even know.
I've seen it. I would never get it because back then I didn't have the money, and my parents weren't going to buy me a chainsaw game.
Or neither my parents.
Yeah, but anyways, speed through this story. Basically. From this point on, you make your way through a couple more boss fights. You have a choice. Well, no, you get to a house. You get to a house where you rendezvous with Luis Serra. You, Ashley, Luis Serra have to fight off these hordes of Las Plagas villagers.
Right.
And interesting thing, if you shoot Luis too many times, you'll trigger another cutscene. And he'll turn around and say adios or something like that and shoot you and kill you.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Because his gun obviously does more damage than your gun.
The Red 9, I believe is what it was called.
It is.
I always got that gun when I was come available. I traded whatever pistol I had in for the Red 9.
For the Red 9.
And I'd buy the stock for it.
Yeah, being a gun guy, it's actually a Mauser C96. And the Red 9, there was something with Russia, and I don't even know. It's something really weird, but it's a Mauser C96, which I always thought was really cool because you don't see them in games very often, and it's a really cool gun. It has a lot of place in history, and people don't even know that Han Solo. Once again, back to Star Wars.
Star Wars.
His blaster. It's a C96 that George Lucas added props to, and a lot of the guns in Star Wars are old war guns that George. Lucas
you say that, and I'm not even a big Star Wars guy. And you say that, and I remember Han Solo's gun. I'm like, that is totally it.
Yeah, but we're jumping off topic again.
Speeding through this, basically after that. You have a choice to go down two different routes, and down one route you have another El Gigante, and
has Ashley been caught?
Ashley's still with you. You have to basically carry Ashley through this. down these two routes. She doesn't get caught until almost right after. But you go down these two routes. One has the Bella sisters, which
are god fucking awful.
They are.
Holy fuck.
They are so hard to beat. Each route has its own treasure. If you wanted to be a hardcore gamer, go down both, which I did when I got the remastered.
I did whenever I
trying to get all these achievements, trying to get all the treasures. But there's a different treasure down each route, and they both lead to the same place. And you have to have Ashley with you on either route you go. So basically, both of them's pretty hard. Down the one route is just another El Gigante fight.
Right.
And the other one is a bunch of villagers plus two Bella sisters.
Which are Dr.
Salvador's. I guess they're
on fucking steroids.
Sisters. I guess it's probably Dr. Salvador's sisters because they're chainsaw wielding twins.
Right.
Okay, they have a parasite directly on their head, but they basically are the burlap wearing sack sisters of Dr. Salvador, so they wield a chainsaw too.
Yeah,
there's two of them.
There's two of them.
And they're just as hard to kill.
Yeah. Because
you basically you basically jump down, and it's an arena style fight.
It's an arena style fight.
Because I always went this way. I don't know why. I felt like it was, I guess, more fun, more challenging. Because this is the first time you see, actually the only time I think you see the Bella sisters.
It is. It's definitely.
It's the only time you get a chance.
Unless like there's something hidden that we don't know about.
I don't think there is, because like I said, I went through. It was about a year. Whenever the remastered will come out, I went through.
About a year. I remember you getting.
Year or two ago, year and a half, something like that. Well, anyways, so after that, you get to I think the castle walls. And you have to find, guess what? You have to find another piece of a puzzle.
Yeah, here you are.
No, it's not even a puzzle. It's the only person that it'll let in. It's a retinal scanner.
Retinal scanner.
Mendez.
It's a retinal scanner in this medieval castle, poor-ass village, which makes no fucking sense.
Well, yeah, it does. He's it's any castle in this area. Like, there's the rich family, and then everybody else is.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but like
it's this giant
you
castle.
have to go fight Mendez. Long story short, which turns into this boss fight.
Yeah, that's your first real boss fight.
That's
I believe.
Awful. I mean,
it is. It's really hard.
It's
definitely a test.
Yeah.
Of the game, because there's a couple more boss fights. There's probably 3 or 4 more.
Coming up, I think the next boss fight you get into. It's probably the easiest boss fight if you have a weapon that you can purchase coming up. So
okay, yeah. Well, anyway, so you got some more puzzles and some more backtracking around, and basically you fight Mendez, and you have to. His eye just magically pops out of his skull after you beat him. And Leon's like, "Oh, I'll take this." And he just picks up his eye. He's like, "Oh, this must be important."
Here's an eyeball.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
One thing I thought to take was his eyeball.
Yeah. So I would have took his really good beard.
Yeah, he has a hell of a beard, man. I mean, that's the thing.
I would cut that sucker off.
Beard, which we're both bearded men.
Yeah. But anyways, so you basically have to kill Mendez to get to the castle. Now, for some reason, you have to progress this way. Oh, yeah, hold on. You have to progress this way because your helicopter got shot down.
Now, did it get shot down at this point, or does it get
it got shot down before. We kind of skimmed over it. Actually, we didn't skim over it at all. We blew right past it. Didn't mention it at all. I
thought you were going to the LZ, like you were going.
That's exactly right. You was the helicopter driver for some reason couldn't pick you up right there where you got Ashley for some game reason.
You can get in anywhere, but for some reason this wasn't the
landing zone. The LZ where the helicopter wanted to pick you up at. So you have to progress down the village, and basically he gets shot down. And you radio Hunnigan, and Hunnigan's like, you know, your intel. She's, I don't want to say she's important. She just comes in and tells you stuff. She's not really important, but she basically tells you it'll be a few hours, and I don't know why you have to go to the castle, to be completely honest with you. I don't know why you couldn't just like hang out there, camp out, wait for the
camp out, wait.
Well, I think you get pushed. You get to a bridge, and basically all just an ungodly amount of villagers are coming behind you, and you run over this bridge, and it's a drawbridge.
Yeah.
So you get over there and you draw it up, and then now you're in like inside the castle walls. Now the castle is where Salazar shows for the first time.
Yeah. So
Salazar's a big part. He's the one funding Sadler's big scheme. He's the rich man. He's basically the money man. That's all he's used for.
This little French Duke,
yes,
man, you know, where, I mean, he's so fucking tiny, and he's got these two fucking giant bodyguards who later turn out to be bugs. So
yeah, they're all these plagas have I guess different forms. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. So like, this is the part where he takes Ashley, right?
No, you have her at the start of you have to get inside the castle. You run into Louise Sarah, again, right before the castle.
Who just conveniently knew to show up at the castle.
Oh, yeah. He conveniently pops up here and there.
Yeah.
The story, we're probably terrible at telling the story. There's reasons we're leaving out. But they seem, to me, they seem really silly and insignificant. It just, game logic,
Yeah,
you got to go to the big scary castle.
Right.
So you run into Sarah. You have Ashley with you still. Basically, Ashley gets not spooked, but like you kind of like piss her off, and like she kind of like runs away from you, and she runs directly into a trap, and she's like just basically stuck on a wall. You remember this now?
Because later on you have to shoot her clamps off. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's a part. And then now you're Ashley-less, and that's the whole goal. Again, get Ashley out.
Yeah.
Hold on, now I remember. The reason why you have to keep going is because the plagas, they infected both of you with Las Plagas.
Yeah, okay, and you both figured it out.
Yeah, you have to get the cure, because Louise Sarah, being the brainiac scientist, he has a cure. But it's in Sadler's possession, and he goes.
Yeah, somehow.
But that's why you have to go to the castle and progress through the game. That's right. It's very important.
Which, if Sadler was really like adamant about like keeping this plan, like why didn't he just destroy the cure?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, no. See, that was the part. That was it's a hostage situation. Like, we got this big scary virus. Give us money.
We'll give you the cure. Yeah.
Bad guy routine.
Yeah. $1 million.
$1 billion, cajillion, for $1 billion. So that's basically the plot, and it does make sense, and it doesn't seem silly. It kind of does, like in hindsight, but at the same time, it all makes sense.
Right.
We're talking like it's just crazy.
It's crazy.
Why not just get out of there?
It seems like it to us because we've played through it more than once. For me, more than 3 times.
Yeah,
way more than 3. Like probably like my 5th or 6th time playthrough.
I've played through it a bunch. I played through it on the PS2, and then I played through it at least a couple times remastered.
Me too. So the story, like, we don't even pay attention. We skip all the cutscenes.
Yeah. It's basically just a treasure hunt. I know once I beat it, I buy the infinite rocket launcher.
Oh yeah,
it's a big thing, and you can just run through the game. I'm pretty sure once you beat it, you can carry over with all your equipment and weapons.
You can actually sell them.
Yeah, what I did was if I had close enough to the $1 million to buy the infinite rocket launcher, I did that and just infinite rocket launcher through the whole game.
I actually skimped a lot on my on my recently playthrough, like I would skimp and not buy any guns, but I would like save everything to sell at the end to buy the infinite rocket launcher.
Yes. There's so many different guns that you can get at the end of the game too.
Yeah, I mean,
they all cost so much money, but there's like a PSL, which is basically like kill everything on the screen gun.
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. I've never bought it, never played with it.
There's the Chicago typewriter.
The Chicago typewriter,
which is a Thompson submachine gun. Oh man,
which
what else?
I'm pretty sure it's an infinite ammo too. Yeah. So basically, the castle we're skimming through now. It's Salazar, and it's so many more puzzles. So many more bad guys too. This is where you first go to the jail cell, and El Grado or El Granado or something
Oh
like
man,
that.
you talking about this fucking Wolverine?
Yes, that's what I called him as a kid, because he had these big. He had basically Wolverine hands.
Wolverine hands.
And they were these long, just.
And
nice.
he's blind?
He can't see. He basically is all sound.
Right.
So every time that you have to fight him, there's bells around.
Yeah, so you just beat the bell.
Place.
Yeah.
But he basically bashes the bell after you ding him.
Right, and so his back's turned to you, so
you have to shoot his back.
Yeah.
Which he's a tough opponent. You cannot kill him without shooting him in his back. And he's just great. And it's always arena-style fighting with him, too. Like, you never get him in an open area. It's like with the first time you fight him, it's in a jail cell in the castle.
Yeah, the door's been closed.
So then you go through a sewer part. The castle's just this big, long maze, puzzle maze.
The sewer part's where you, like, run into, like, the first appearance of these, like, fucking bugs that turn invisible.
Oh, yeah, that's the sewer part.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just skim through it, because this is kind of a long game when you sit and think about it.
Yeah, when you think about it. But so then you go to the sewers. You're going through. What else do you do here? You come back out on top where Ashley was taken.
Yeah, it's on another side. The wall is like one of those trick walls because fuck it, Resident Evil puzzles.
Now you've got these guys in robes, and
they're trying to get to Ashley.
Yeah, and then you got this one guy like in the middle in like this red robe with like this ram head.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them in this castle,
and like he's like saying this fucking weird chant.
It's like a prayer or something.
Yeah, some kind of like
Spanish prayer.
Seven Spanish angels prayer from Ray Charles. I don't know. Like, he's fucking sitting there saying this shit, so you gotta fucking murder all these guys.
And it's just a horde of...
Here is where you can unlock, not unlock, but here's where you can do the shooting arena thing and get...
Never completed that.
I didn't either.
What did you get for that? I'm sure you
got these little figurines that you could stand on these like figurine stand.
So basically, it was a collectible thing.
Yeah,
hardcore gamer stuff. I would do it until like the 4th or 5th round when shit got hard, and then, like, because it would make you use guns that you weren't used to using. So I never used the little Uzi.
Yeah.
I never used it. So when I got to it, I struggled. So basically, you have to have a good handle for all the guns.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's some boss fights and
just be good at the fucking be good at playing video games. Which I'm not.
I do not claim to be. I have a few video games and I try, but I wouldn't say I'm good.
No, definitely not. So you've got all this stuff. So you're going through. You're doing this. You're doing that. Are we
puzzles, backtracking?
Yeah,
a couple more boss fights. The story progresses.
So we're at the part where we get Ashley. I think that's the next big thing that happens.
Now hold on. Now, but right before you get Ashley, Luis Serra shows up with the cure.
Okay, yeah, because he stole the cure.
Yeah, and this was right
conveniently in video game fashion,
Sadler spears him with his...
Spears this guy.
Well, actually, I'm going to say it's his penis. It's his dick. Because it comes out from the bottom of his robe.
Right.
And it just jousts him right in the chest.
So, I mean, it's like this alien style, like, if you ever seen the movie Alien, like, spear,
and it's this
dick.
And he's like down the hall.
Yeah.
And it stretches all the way out.
This guy's fucking hogged out, man.
He's got a decent sized wang. It's scary looking too. It's sharp.
It's sharp. It's got a barb on it for whatever reason.
Yeah, it basically stabs
it's like
Sarah
a big cat dick
in his chest, and his hand like falls because it's dramatic, and the serum, the cure, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, it falls, and by this time Sadler's done walked down the hall, and he just happened to catch it.
Right.
Like right as it fell into his hand.
Right.
And it was all dramatic and sad because, even though Louise Sarah just pops in and out of the game.
Now
Leon's all sad.
Yeah, because here's this guy that, he really don't get a feel for it, but
I guess Leon does.
It's really shitty in character development, I guess, because it gave you a little reason to care, but not really. You really don't have a reason to care about it.
Other than the fact that he was trying to do the right thing.
Right.
He was trying to do the right thing because he got mixed in with these guys, and before he knew it, he was trapped working for these guys, and then he tries to get out and tries to help, and so there's that feel. Like the guy trying to do the right thing, of course he dies. And that's right before you get Ashley back.
Right.
Which and then you have a little side right when you get Ashley, you shoot her. For some reason, Leon can't find the way to her, so she has to find the way to you. And you play as Ashley.
Where you fight these fucking knights.
Yes.
Oh my fucking God.
And it's quite easy after your first time.
Yeah.
Your first time is quite difficult.
Yeah, because you don't know what the fuck. And this knight
follows
you. He follows you.
And then you walk down this hallway where there's just a bunch of them standing.
Yeah.
And then you have this quick time events again where they just attack you.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. It's like every other 1-2 just fucking attacks.
Yes. And then once you get back to Leon, she's basically, which to be honest with you, I was like, you dumb bitch, because she got all mad at you and ran away, and that's what got her trapped. So now she's running up to you, hugging you, and I'm like, yeah, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
But so then you progress with Ashley. I think no, she gets captured again. When you get to the labs.
Yeah, okay.
I was going to say, I think you carry on the rest of the game with Ashley, but no, you don't.
She gets captured again.
Yes.
So now you got to drag her through this, castle, and it fucking sucks, because she is, like you said, utterly fucking garbage.
She's incompetent completely.
Oh, my God.
So, and basically, they don't kill her. A lot of them just try to pick her up and carry her off. So you're fighting off all these things, and if she gets picked up, which it lets you know, she starts screaming, you basically just have to shoot whoever's carrying her. But you could miss and hit her. I've done that before. And if Ashley dies, it's a game over screen.
Now you can go to this one thing and kill these enemies, right? And you can pick up the rocket launcher out of this glass case.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, see, that's right before Ashley. That's right before Louise Sarah. That's one of the last things you do before running into Ashley. We completely skipped Ada. We skipped the courtyard. The maze. Oh, God, yes. There's just so much to this game. I feel like we should just skim through it and then just talk about stuff.
Yeah.
There's so much that we left out.
Drag on. So pretty much you go through this game, get Ashley.
You lose Ashley.
You get Ashley again.
You lose her again.
You go to, you fight this boss. You go to, which is, once again, with the rocket launcher, the easiest fucking boss to fight without kind of difficult. You go to this other part of the island.
It's a lab part, basically, I think. And that's where you run into the scariest fucking things in this game called regenerators. And they're like breathe creepily. They bring you back to like Resident Evil 1 with they're kind of like the main boss in Resident Evil 1, I think.
Yeah, definitely sort of.
They're like
reminiscent of it.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so the only way to kill these guys is if you get
the thermal
scope.
And they have these little parasites on them, and you have to shoot the parasites. You can actually kill them without that.
But it takes a lot of ammo.
You have to dump your ammo into these things. And you don't get the thermal scope right away. You have to dump your ammo into this thing.
A couple of these things.
And they just show up, too, and they're like slow walking, breathing, and they're just heads with mouths on them. And they're definitely the scariest thing in this game.
Also, they kind of look a little bit like Slender Man,
except for with fat guts, like
beer really
bellies.
Fucking fat.
They had these big beer bellies, and they had these long arms.
Ribbon.
Hold on. Yeah, that's something else. The long arms.
And then these big monkey arms.
That they could stretch out and grab you, and once they grabbed you, they pulled you in and like ate your face.
Fucking monsters from Revelations.
I never played Revelations, but yeah, I guess.
Once again, our tech guy.
He's played Revelations, and he says they reminisce those.
As Resident Evil fans, me and Travis have lacked on the 6. Just left such a bad taste in our mouth that we didn't pick up the Revelation games.
We thought it was going to be garbage.
Yeah, we picked up 7 with really skeptical views.
At the same time, I'd say it was skeptical mixed with excitement, because they made the promises.
Yeah, and then plus they had
back to the
demo that you could play.
Yeah, and I see. I think it come out for the PlayStation 4 way before it come out with the Xbox. So I never even got to play. It come out way later for the Xbox. So I'd already watched it on YouTube, and I was pretty excited for it.
Watched it on YouTube, but. So, back to this. So, when you go to this other part of the island where these fucking zombies now, instead of having pitchforks and torches...
Some of them have rocket launchers.
Have fucking rocket launchers.
And some of them have big 50 cal machine guns that it's the difficult level.
They also have these fucking shocking bars.
That's right. From like Blade.
Yeah.
Remember those things?
Yeah, it's like fucking Blade shit.
Yeah. That's how they beat Blade into submission with these fucking shocking little half lightsabers.
Exactly. It looks like a fucking little lightsaber with like electric popping out.
Yeah, that's basically what they have. It reminded me a lot of Blade.
Yeah, it's definitely reminiscent of Blade. But now...
So now you're in this, and this is I'd say the final chapter. This is the final place.
This is getting to the final place.
You're on this island, and it's basically a lab island where they do the research, and we totally skipped Krauser too. There's so much to this game. There really is.
There's a lot to it to cover. But in just a quick this is the final place. There's 3 main places to this place. You got the first village, the castle,
and then the island.
So this is where you go through. You get Ashley back. You get the parasites out of you. Whole time you're fighting these hard ass fucking enemies. You're finding weapons.
There's a whole truck thing where Ashley does something.
Yeah.
She's driving the truck while you're fighting off zombies down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest with you, they kind of changed. They fast paced through this. Like, where's their roads? Like, why is there all of a sudden paved cities? It's a big village.
I don't even know.
It's crazy, but it all works. It all works.
It does.
You don't think about it while you're playing it, but sitting here talking about it now, I guess the small holes that we can poke, we're poking them because we're sitting here now, but there's not many.
There's really not. It's a great game. To us, it's a really solid game.
It really is.
And so so then you go to this final boss, and holy fuck. And this is followed by a quick time event after you beat this fucking fight. They just fell in love with quick time events.
They did.
But so you beat this final boss with this special rocket launcher.
It's like an incendiary rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Like you get the incendiary grenades and regular grenades, and then all of a sudden,
incendiary like red rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Which if you keep, you can sell for a shit ton.
I've always needed it.
I've always needed it too, but I didn't use it one time because I had the rocket launcher with infinite ammo. I just kept it
and sold it
and fucking made a shit ton of money. But so you defeat him, you do your own thing. I think Ada's there helping you, right?
Ada, she's the one that throws you the rocket.
Right. Rocket launcher.
Ada has her own. She has her own agenda.
Yeah, she's got her own things to do. She doesn't give two fucks about you. She knows you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. She basically has bombs set on the island.
Yeah.
And
which she could have fucking told you.
It's basically like you could tie a lot of things into different things, but this reminds me of Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PlayStation 1. Where you basically have to race off the island on a fucking jet ski.
On a jet ski, holy fuck! So you get in this?
No. Wait, you wasn't on a jet ski in Metal Gear Solid 1. You ended up in a jet ski. But it was basically the same thing. You were going down a tunnel in a car, and you were having to shoot liquid. But it's basically the same thing. You're going down a tunnel in a jet ski. And you have to beat the clock. It's a race against the clock.
And you also have these quick time things that are coming up.
Yeah, because the bombs are going off.
Yeah.
And the debris from the cave tunnel.
And Ashley's on your back, and you're like driving this jet ski.
And you basically have to go full. You have to go full speed. You have to go full speed, or you will die.
Yeah, so you got to dodge these fucking rocks and shit.
Yes.
And then you get out into the ocean, which I don't know.
Yeah,
how the fuck you're going to make it all the way back to America on a jet ski. But
yeah. And another thing is, like, there was until you got to the island, there was, like, no big bodies of water.
Yeah, they were
like, all of a sudden, they just traversed through this village to a castle to an island.
Right.
Like I said, hindsight, looking back, talking on it now, is like, it seems unlikely. Like,
it does.
And Spain, is there, I'm not, my geographical skills are not good. Is there a big,
geographic guy? I don't know.
Is there a big ocean?
I'm pretty sure this is like a fictional place, just kind of loosely based
on Spain or a country over there.
A country of Spain or something, or France or something. I don't even fucking know. The point is like, so you get out into the ocean. Leon makes this like sexual joke or something.
I think so. Well, no, Ashley hits on Leon, and he basically turns her down.
Right.
Which dumbass.
Because why the fuck would you turn this hot piece of ass guy?
Not only that, it's the president's daughter.
It's the president's daughter, so I mean, it's like double fucking her.
Yeah, it's like
I'd fuck Trump's daughter.
Yeah, well, Trump's daughter's hot, though.
Dating this podcast a little bit. I mean, if someone's listening to this in the future, but I'd fuck her.
Who wouldn't? Not even if she was a butt ass ugly. Like, it's the president's daughter.
President's daughter, but Ashley's not. Ashley's pretty cute, and so he shuts her down. But I guess if I had Ada Wong after my dick too,
he has a thing for Ada. There's a thing that he kind of leads on to that.
I have a thing. I mean, like, all the girls in Resident Evil are hot. Jill, Claire, Ada, fucking Ashley. Hell, even in 5, Shiva or whatever the fuck her name is.
That co-op.
Yeah,
girl that follows you around. Yeah.
I'd fuck her. But the point is, like, not about who I'm gonna fuck. So this game is good.
It's classic.
It's a classic game. It's
the pinnacle of Resident Evil.
I loved it. It changed my gaming experience for life.
It did mine too.
Quick story about it, about how boring I guess my wife thought this game was. So we're dating. She comes over to hang out, and she's like, "Well, I don't want you to play video games or something." So I'm playing Resident Evil, and I'm fucking into it, right? I'm in the Resident Evil 4. I'm fucking playing it. This is like my 3rd or 4th run through, so like I look like a badass to her because I'm just murder.
You look like a pro.
Yeah, I look like a fucking pro.
Once you get past that first run through,
yeah,
you look like a pro.
I'm a pro gamer, and like, I look over, and she's fucking laying on my bed, passed the fuck out,
sleeping.
while I'm always playing this fucking game. I'm like, oh my fucking god! Like I look like such a nerd.
I've tried whenever when we sat and played Resident Evil 7. My wife come in.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure she passed out.
I'm pretty sure she
passed out.
Like,
we were all piled on my futon in my
your
game
two
room.
kids and her, and
she passed out. And my two kids were just
glued to
this TV, this hellaciously scary cussing
game.
It was awful. I'm probably a bad parent for letting them watch. No, my kids are very mature.
But this is the pinnacle point in my gaming history where I was like,
it definitely ranks.
I'm hooked to Resident Evil 4. Oh my god, I'm hooked to Resident Evil in general. This is a great franchise.
It is the franchise. That's what we need to talk about. The franchise. This is the pinnacle, and hopefully they go in the upward direction after 7.
Because 7 hit like
7 was a great. It's another turning point.
It was a steady climb up, and already
and they fell off
with Resident Evil 1. Like it was like it's already up here. You know, it's already on another level.
It was.
And then you have 2 that's like, okay, this is fucking awesome. Then you got 3, and you're like, this is the shit. This is where it's at. And then 4 comes out, and for some people they say,
But no, it still pushed the boundary.
For us, especially for me,
especially for me too.
This is what got me into gaming a little bit more.
So I have to say, and for me, and Silent Hill kind of fell off, but the 3 greatest franchise, in my opinion, is Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, and Silent Hill.
Okay.
And they all started in the late 90s. Yeah. They all started on the same platform.
Especially like with this more...
Well, technically Metal Gear Solid started in the 80s, but nobody played those games.
Before, that's right.
Nobody played those games.
Nobody played those fucking shitty DOS fucking games.
But the story was great, though.
The story was good. But here you go. Before PlayStation era, you just had platformers, and then PlayStation comes out and was like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, and those 3 games
you're
right there.
Teenager/adult, you're going to fucking enjoy badass games.
And these are all mature rated games, and I'm pretty sure I know that it's fuzzy, but I'm pretty sure it was like 97, 98, 99.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Metal Gear Solid was the first one, Resident Evil, and then Silent Hill.
Right.
It was 97, 98, 99. And I was, let's see, in 97, I was 6 years old.
See, you're older than me by a little bit, because in 97, I was 3.
Yeah.
Right.
So I remember watching, I had an uncle. He popped in Silent Hill, and I think it may have been like right around that time. I was so young, it scared the piss out of me.
See,
and I had a cousin who was older than me who was playing Resident Evil. And then me and my cousins sat and played so much Metal Gear Solid. And all these games are rated M. And here I am, 6, 7, 8 years old, playing these mature games.
I experienced this like a couple years, I guess, a few years after you did, because I got my PlayStation 1 like in the 2000s or something.
Yeah.
It was when PlayStation 2 was coming out, so the PlayStation 1s at Walmart were like dirt fucking... I think I paid like $70-some and got my fucking PlayStation 1 in like a video game.
That's almost worth mine right now.
Yeah.
I would almost buy a PlayStation 1 for $70. So yeah, that was a steal back then.
I got it for fucking like nothing, and like my parents helped me pay on it, but like they were trying to teach me like values, so like
responsibility.
Yeah, so like they were giving me an allowance for like doing chores, and they were like, you know, like once again, like I'm in like 3rd grade, so like my cousin, one of my not older, but he's the same age as me, boy cousin had a PlayStation 1. I played it, and I was like, oh my god, I need this, because I only had an NES at this time that got hand-me-down.
I had a hand-me-down NES too.
Yeah, and so like
I remember playing
Super Mario Bros. 3 was like the top tier for me, like on that. So like I go over to his house and like he's playing like the first Medal of Honor, which as a young kid was like Army. I was like, oh my god, Army, man, this is so fucking cool.
That was, I remember.
And like playing like what he shouldn't have been playing, but GTA 1. There was a copy of someone had a copy of GTA 1 in our class. They got passed around. I think because like they had stolen it from like their older brother or something, and they're passing it around to everybody. And
well, at least GTA 1 and 2 didn't have the coarse dialogue.
Yeah.
That 3 had.
Yeah.
That was the first one that I remember playing GTA. I think it was 2, and I didn't really get into it.
I didn't either.
Like,
everybody at school loved them whenever like we were in 3rd and 4th grade. They were like, oh my god. But then 3 come out and kind of like changed the game.
And it did not age well. I don't know if you've ever popped it in.
I've never tried to pop it in again.
It was also a turning point in games. GTA 3 was like doing something nobody else was doing. It was like kind of like the first open world sandbox game, really.
One of my friends had it, and I would go over to his house and we would play the shit out of it. But we'd stay up like all weekend, fucking drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah. I remember speaking of staying up all weekend, Resident Evil 3. My cousin, and we were kids, like, we didn't have no trouble staying up. My cousin had, like, a case of fucking Red Bull, and we were like, we're going to stay up all night and play this game. And by the time morning hit, we were scared to death.
Fucking
we didn't want to leave the room. We didn't want to leave his bedroom. And he had a big bedroom. Like, this cousin had a lot more money than I did. So,
obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we played a video game one night, me and my cousin, and he ended up upstairs, and this is going to sound really fucking disgusting, but this is something that happened. I think we played like Resident Evil 3, like I had brought my copy of Resident Evil 3. It's the same cousin that had the PS1. Once again, a richer cousin than me. He had a PS1. I brought my copy of Resident Evil 3 over, and we were playing it. And so he got so scared that he would not go downstairs to use the bathroom. He pissed in a cup that we had up there and poured it out the window.
I swear to God, this is crazy, because the exact same thing. We didn't leave the room. We threw open his window because his window overlooked his backyard. We pissed out the window.
Right, yes.
We didn't piss in a cup. We pissed out the window. Because we were so scared. That's crazy that happened to you.
That happened to me
too. It was
too.
Resident Evil 3. It scared us to death. It scared us to death.
It was nuts. But so wrapping up, once again, it's a great game. If you haven't checked it out already, go fucking check it out.
Play it for yourself.
Yeah.
You can listen to everybody talk about this and
fucking
that.
Just play it, because
play it.
This is good. Go pick up a copy, or I'm not saying this, but there's free copies out there. If you don't know how to get them, you're a fucking retard.
If you're an advanced gamer, they have the remastered for the PS4, Xbox One. I'm pretty sure it's on
PC.
It's on PC. There's any platform that you're gaming on, you can play Resident Evil 4 on, and it's remastered. I'd play it.
I play it, and now that we're talking about it, I kind of want to go play it again.
I kind of want to play it myself.
So I'll tell you what, let's end this podcast. Thank you guys for listening.
This has
been 2 Guys, 1 Pod with Travis
and Chris.
That's right.
And thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys. So, bye.